This series of videos chronicles my trip through New Zealand, from North Island to South Island. We rolled out of Kaikoura in the late afternoon, the sun dipping behind the mountains as we made a straight shot toward Christchurch for our overnight stop. By the next morning, the adventure picked up again, this time with our newest teammate, Alana. Snowy took us on a guided tour through the heart of Christchurch. By late morning, we rolled out of Christchurch and set our sights on Lake Tekapo, our next overnight stop. The following morning, the road pulled us onward to the turquoise waters of Lake Pūkaki, framed by sweeping views of mighty Mount Cook. We made a quick stop at the windswept heights of Lindis Pass before diving straight into one of New Zealand's iconic adrenaline hubs, a legendary bungee jumping station, complete with a short but thrilling zipline run. After the rush, we continued our journey and rolled into Queenstown for our overnight stop. We rolled out of Kaikoura in the late morning, leaving the wild coastline behind as we pushed south toward Christchurch for our next overnight stop. The winding coastal road carried us through a series of short tunnels carved straight into the mountains, with the Pacific Ocean to the east. Approaching Christchurch, we passed the Fanfare Sculpture, a 25-meter kinetic artwork by celebrated sculptor Francis Neil Dawson, its spinning starbursts catching the coastal wind. It was created in 2004 and finally erected here in 2015 as a landmark welcoming travelers into the city. We rolled into our hostel late in the afternoon, and after checking in and catching our breath, I headed back outside to explore whatever surprises the neighborhood had waiting for us. These buildings were originally part of the University of Canterbury, constructed between the 1870s and early 1900s in a Gothic revival style designed largely by architect Benjamin Mountfort. The university operated here until 1975, when it relocated to the Elam campus. After the move, the site was preserved and redeveloped as the Art Center, which now houses galleries, studios, cafes, and various small businesses within the restored heritage structures. Walking through the complex offers a clear look at the original stonework, courtyards, and academic layout that defined the campus for nearly a century. In the evening, we welcomed our new group member, Alana, and went over the plans for the rest of the tour. As night settled in, we headed toward the Riverside Market for dinner, passing the Bridge of Remembrance War Memorial along the way. Riverside Market is a modern indoor marketplace in central Christchurch, known for its mix of local food stalls, fresh produce, and small specialty vendors. The building sits along the Avon River and has become a popular evening spot for both locals and visitors. Inside, the layout is multi-level, with open walkways overlooking the main floor, giving it a lively, compact atmosphere. It's an easy place to grab dinner, try regional dishes, or just take in the energy of the city at night. The next morning, Snowy led us on a walking tour through Christchurch, guiding us to some of the city's most interesting landmarks and historic sites. Our first stop was the Cardboard Cathedral, a temporary replacement for Christchurch's original cathedral after the 2011 earthquake. Designed by Japanese architect Shigeru Ban, it opened in 2013 and is built from reinforced cardboard tubes, timber, and polycarbonate panels. Here, you can see 4 shipping containers integrated into the outer wall. These containers act as the main structural support, carrying the load of the cardboard beams and helping stabilize the building. Inside, the main hall is lined with a row of large-diameter cardboard tubes that rise up to support the roof structure. These tubes form the cathedral's most recognizable feature, acting as both the visual centerpiece and the primary load-bearing system for the building. It's one of the city's most innovative structures, created to serve as both a functional church and a symbol of resilience during the city's rebuild.
They only go there because the tower means people come to Christchurch because our church is made out of cardboard. Are they? And the other reason is to learn how to play rugby.
The front of the cathedral features a large stained glass panel, adding color and light to the otherwise minimalist design. Inside, the use of cardboard continues beyond the roof structure. Large, round cardboard tubes form many of the interior elements as well, including the pulpit and the confessional area. These components highlight architect Shigeru Ban's approach of using the same lightweight, reinforced tubes throughout the building, demonstrating how cardboard can function as both a structural and architectural material. The pulpit commands the foreground, its clean lines set against the rugged steel geometry of the shipping containers behind it. The choir area continues the theme as well, with its frontal areas constructed from the same large cardboard tubes used elsewhere in the building, showcasing the consistency of Band's experimental architectural approach. That same architectural language carries into the sanctuary, where the altar area is framed by the familiar cardboard tube design. This copper scale model represents the original cathedral that stood in the main square before suffering major damage during the 2011 earthquake. Back outside, we continued our city walk, strolling past the Tekapo Stadium under construction. On the opposite side of the street from the Cardboard Cathedral is the memorial site for the CTV Earthquake Memorial Park. This park stands on the very ground where the CTV building once stood, the building that collapsed in the 2011 earthquake, taking 115 lives, nearly 60% of the quake's total fatalities. Today, the foundations of that building remain beneath the grass and gardens, preserved as a solemn reminder of the tragedy. Cherry blossoms, kauai trees, and new plantings now soften the space, offering a place of reflection, healing, and remembrance. It's a peaceful memorial built on heartbreak, a place where Christchurch honors those lost and the resilience of those who endured. We pass by a small section of the original Berlin Wall preserved here. We keep walking and come across several cleared sites, the bare ground behind the chain link fences marking where buildings once stood before the quake reshaped the city. As we move through the city, the old Christchurch trams weave around us in a crisscross of steel rails, gliding past cafes, heritage buildings, and modern rebuilds. Their bells echo through the streets, adding a nostalgic rhythm to a city that's constantly reinventing itself. Walking into Cathedral Square, we're greeted by the Chalice, a 2001 sculpture by artist Neil Dawson, created to mark the new millennium. Its pattern of native New Zealand leaves celebrates the region's natural heritage. Massive murals rise up on the sides of buildings, bold splashes of color that turn entire walls into open-air galleries. Each one feels like a heartbeat of Christchurch, telling stories of resilience, creativity, and the city's unmistakable spirit. As we continued, this beautiful red brick heritage building comes into view, home to the Christchurch Eyesight Visitor Information Center. It's a classic landmark surrounded by the city's modern skyline. We continue our walk toward Cathedral Square and soon arrive at the statue of Robert Godley, the man who led the Canterbury Association and laid the foundations for Christchurch back in the 1850s. We arrive at the Christchurch Cathedral, now enclosed by fencing as restoration continues. The 2011 quake caused catastrophic damage here, collapsing the spire and leaving the structure unstable for years. Here, we see the cathedral in its original state, before the 2011 earthquake. The following image reveals just how severely it was damaged during the disaster. The last image shows the renovated structure after anticipated completion. Standing beside the cathedral is the Citizens' War Memorial, its figures rising toward the cross above, a powerful tribute to the Canterbury lives lost in World War I. We roll out of Christchurch and hit the open road, chasing the horizon toward Lake Tekapo, about 225 kilometers of pure South Island scenery ahead of us. We rolled into Lake Tekapo late in the afternoon, checked into our hostel, and took a moment to settle in. Then we headed back out to explore, wandering along the turquoise shoreline that draws in locals and travelers from all over. The whole lake felt alive with people soaking in the views. Walking around Lake Tekapo feels like stepping into a postcard. The water glows an unreal shade of turquoise, colored by glacial flour, fine rock particles carried down from the southern Alps and suspended in the lake. As we follow the shoreline, the air is crisp. The wind carries that high country chill, and the vast Mackenzie Basin opens up around us. The lake surface is 83 square kilometers at an elevation of 710 meters above sea level. Everywhere we walk, people stop just to take it all in. Locals unwinding after work, travelers chasing the perfect shot, and everyone quietly stunned by how surreal this place looks in real life. I spotted a girl sitting quietly on the shore, gazing out over the turquoise water, and the moment stopped me in my tracks. It was one of those scenes that feels effortlessly cinematic, the kind of shot you can't plan, but instantly know is perfect. On the nearby mountain sits the University of Canterbury's Mount John Observatory, perched high above the lake like a lookout to the universe. A steep, winding trail climbs toward the summit, drawing hikers and stargazers alike. I followed the path partway up, just enough to catch those elevated views. Lake Tekapo shimmering below, the Mackenzie Basin stretching wide, and the whole landscape unfolding in a way you can only appreciate from higher ground. The Church of the Good Shepherd sits right on the edge of Lake Tekapo, perfectly framed by turquoise water in the southern Alps. Built in 1935 as a tribute to the early pioneers of the Mackenzie Basin, this tiny stone church has become one of New Zealand's most iconic and most cinematic viewpoints. Every angle feels like a movie shot, especially as the light shifts across the lake and mountains. Lake Tekapo isn't just beautiful, it feels otherworldly. I saw this sign in the kitchen of the hostel. This is Bob, washing dishes. The next morning, we were back on the road at first light, leaving Tekapo's calm waters behind as we set out toward the brilliant blue of Lake Pūkaki. Lake Pūkaki comes into view like a burst of electric blue, its color created by glacial flour from the Tasman and Hooker glaciers. This is the largest lake in the Mackenzie Basin, stretching straight toward Aoraki Mount Cook, New Zealand's highest peak. Even a short stop here feels epic, with wide open views and that unmistakable South Island clarity in the air. This lake is famous for delivering some of the best views of Aoraki Mount Cook, with the peak rising dramatically at the far end of its brilliant blue water. Aoraki Mount Cook rises like a giant above the Southern Alps, New Zealand's highest peak at 3,724 meters. This entire region was carved by ancient glaciers, and you can still feel that raw power in the sharp ridgelines and deep valleys surrounding the mountain. Aoraki is sacred to the Maori, seen as the great ancestor who watches over the land. Standing here, with the wind sweeping across Lake Pūkaki and the summit glowing in the distance, you understand why climbers, photographers, and travelers from around the world are drawn to this place. It's the heart of the Southern Alps, and it feels absolutely timeless. In this area along the hillsides, you might spot the Himalayan tahr, originally brought to New Zealand from the Himalayas in the early 1900s for hunting. With no natural predators here, their numbers exploded, and today they're considered an invasive species, grazing heavily on native alpine plants and reshaping the landscape. We followed the road around Lake Pūkaki, getting closer and closer to Aoraki Mount Cook, chasing better views, better light, and of course, better selfies. We pulled into a roadside cafe for a quick coffee break, and that's when I spotted it. A vintage Ferrari Dino parked casually across the road, like it had just rolled out of a classic film. The engine didn't exactly purr. It coughed and grumbled like it had seen better days, but it fired up and an elderly couple climbed in and drove off, cruising away in this beautifully worn piece of automotive history. It was unexpected, charming, And honestly, kinda perfect. We continue our journey south. We made a quick stop at Lindis Pass, one of the highest and most dramatic road passes in New Zealand's South Island. Sitting at around 971 meters, it cuts through a landscape of rolling golden tussock hills that look almost otherworldly. The wind was sharp, the air thin, and the views stretched endlessly in every direction. Pure Mackenzie country wilderness. Even a short stop here feels like stepping into a sweeping wide-angle shot from an epic film. We continued south along the edge of Lake Dunstan, the water flashing between blue and gold as the road curved toward the hills. Before long, we rolled into the small town of Cromwell, perfect spot to pause the journey and grab some lunch. In the heart of Cromwell stands its famous giant fruit sculpture. We followed the road south along the Kawarau River, its turquoise water racing beside us as we headed toward the Roaring Meg Power Station. Along the way, old miner cabins clung to the river's edge, weathered reminders of the gold rush days that once fueled this rugged valley. We rolled up to the Roaring Meg Power Station, where the river suddenly narrows and explodes into fast-moving electric blue water. Roaring Meg might be small, but it punches well above its weight. This hydro station generates around 30 gigawatts of electricity each year. That's a serious amount of power. Technically enough to send the DeLorean back to the future if Doc Brown ever decided to trade plutonium for pure New Zealand hydropower. We continued south, following the river through the narrowing gorge until we reached our next stop, the iconic Kawarau Gorge Suspension Bridge, hanging high above the rushing blue water, the birthplace of commercial bungee jumping. From the bridge, thrill seekers leap 43 meters toward the turquoise river below, bouncing and swinging through the canyon like it's nothing. And if jumping isn't enough, there's a short zip line that sends you flying across the gorge, giving you a fast, sweeping view of the cliffs and rushing water. Even if you're not jumping, just watching the action here is an adventure on its own. After that burst of adrenaline, we continued south and rolled into Queenstown late in the day, New Zealand's adventure capital welcoming us with its lights shimmering against the lake.